Okay. All right. So, hi. Hi, everyone. It's still preparing for something, whatever. Okay, you probably already know that raising capital is critical to the success of your startup, right? But the fundraising process can be absolutely overwhelming, especially for early stage startups and first-time entrepreneurs. It's easy to get lost in the shuffle, lose sight of your vision. So you can get distracted by the countless tasks. That's why we're here today to help you navigate the fundraising journey with confidence. I will mostly talk about seed and round A stage, but pre-seed startup founders will find some valuable tips and tricks too. I believe so. I will share some insights that will help you stay focused, calm, and collected throughout the process so you can raise the funds you need. All right, so about me. I'm Sana, a coach for tech founders and startup teams, and I have over 20 years of experience under my belt. And all this time, I was focused on debt and equity funding, team leadership, negotiations, and finance. This was my main focus. And I started mentoring and coaching about 15 years ago. And since then, this is my love that now became a profession. For the last 3 years, I also dig deep into personal branding, media relations. It started as a hobby out of curiosity. I took training on that, and now I know that this is exactly a critical part of startup success. So basically, with all my background, now I'm helping founders to be more effective, productive, and focused. And today I will share with you my knowledge and will do my best to answer your questions. All right, so our agenda. Basically, our agenda for today, we will talk about big picture and how to stay sane within the fundraising process. I will describe what VCs are looking for at different stages, pre-seed, seed, round A. Then we will dig deeper into fundraising process. After that, we will share. I will share with you how to leverage media and stand out from the crowd. We will talk about the importance of communication and how to share a clear message. And I will summarize everything at the end, so you will get structured view. So stay till the end to get the whole picture, and I will do my best to answer all your questions. There's gonna be a recording, and if you will need one, just let me know. You can just DM me on LinkedIn, your email, for example. Okay, so let's start with founder focus. This is absolutely crazy picture. I tried to describe everything that can be founder focus within all the process of growing the startup. I suppose I failed to show everything, but I tried to build the big picture. When you're building a startup, there is so much to do and so much to learn. Building an MVP, hiring people, fundraising, scaling, and many, many more. As a result, keeping focus and be effective is extremely difficult. One common mistake that founders make during the fundraising is becoming overly focused on valuation. They may become so fixated on getting a higher valuation for the startup that they lose sight of the bigger picture. As you can see, you will have many fundraising rounds. It's just a part of them, I suppose. Some goes to the end of the alphabet. So you need to remember that you will need to grow your valuation for each round. And you need to remember that each fundraising round have long-term impact on your business. As you can see, you have like long road ahead. Some founders may get caught up in the fundraising process itself and spend all the time and energy on activities like pitch competitions, for example, and investor meetings. They can be valuable, but they shouldn't distract founders from their core responsibilities, such as product development and customer acquisition, right? In the rush to secure funding, some founders may lose sight of their original vision for their business. They may start to make decisions based on what investors want to hear, rather than what's the best for the long-term success of their company. I'm not saying you're always right as a founder. I mean, but just remember about your vision, long-term vision. Finally, some founders may lose focus during the fundraising simply because they haven't prepared for this. They may not have a clear understanding of their target market or their competitive landscape, which can lead to confusion and missteps. If you decided to look for funding, don't skip essential steps and be prepared. Let's talk about something very important that needs to be a part of your startup, the big picture. There will be long hours, setbacks, and moments where you feel like giving up. Maybe some of you already felt that. You need to know that money is not enough motivation. Sure, money can be a great motivator, especially for early stage startup, but it's not enough to sustain you through the ups and downs of startup life. If all you're chasing is money, you're likely to burn out quickly, or you will lose focus when things get tough. You need something deeper to keep you going, and that's where passion and mission comes in. Passion is what drives you, what makes you wake up in the morning excited to work on your startup. It's the fire that fuels your creativity and innovation. When you are passionate about what you do, it feels like something you're meant to do, something you love doing, right? And that's what sets successful startups apart from the rest. Your mission is what gives you your startup purpose. It's the reason why you're doing what you're doing. It's the impact you want to make on the world. When you have a mission that drives you, it's much easier to make decisions, stay focused, and keep moving forward. So, how does all of this help you raise money from VCs? First of all, passion and mission help you stand out from the competition. There are a lot of tech startups out there, right? And many of them are chasing the same market. But when you have a strong passion and mission, you differentiate yourself from the pack. You become more than just another startup. You become a movement, a force to be working with. Also, VCs are looking for more than just a good idea or potential for profit. They want to see that you are passionate about your idea and that you have a mission that aligns with their values. When you can communicate your passion and mission clearly, they are much more likely to invest in your startup. And now we talk about investors. So, on different stages, what they are looking for. At pre-seed stage, investors are primarily looking for founders who have a strong vision and a compelling pitch. They want to see that you are done your homework and have a great understanding of the problem you're trying to solve. They look at your team very closely. Can you walk the walk? I mean, can you execute? At the seed stage, VCs want to see that the product has a market fit and that customers are interested in using it. The team's ability to execute the plan and the strength of their network is also essential. You should also have a clear plan for how you're going to use their money to reach your next milestones. At the round A stage, VCs are looking for companies that have already achieved some level of traction. You should have a product that's been validated by customers, and you should be able to show that you're on the path to profitability. This is like a biggest pain point right now for many round A startups. You should also have a plan for how you're going to scale your business and continue to grow. And of course, VCs are looking for high returns on their investments, so they want to invest in companies that have the potential to grow exponentially. They also want to invest in businesses that are solving significant problems or disrupting existing markets because they really can achieve big profits, return on their investments. They are often busy and receive hundreds of pitches a week. So it's crucial to stand out from the crowd and make a great first impression. A well-crafted pitch deck, a clear message, and strong value proposition. It's the key to capturing their attention. Always remember that investors are basically buying your future success. They want you to be focused, do what you promised, and commit 100% to your startup. So this is like basic points. All right, so starting with fundraising process and how to navigate it. Don't rush into outreach stage. Start with analyzing what you have. Not every VC is going to be a perfect match for your startup. This is important to understand. You might have a great idea, but if it doesn't align with the particular VC's investment thesis, or if they don't have any expertise in your industry, it's unlikely they'll be the right fit for you, right? So when you are selling a product, you want to find the right customer who is in need of your product and has the money to buy it. If your product doesn't solve a particular customer pain points, or if it's out of their budget, it's unlikely they'll be a good fit for you, right? The same, like in both cases, it's important to do your research and find the right match. So just like in B2B sales, you want to understand your customer pain points and needs before pitching your product. The same is when raising money. You want to understand a VC's investment thesis and expertise before approaching them. So you will need to do a lot of research. And to stand out from the crowd, work on media campaign. Planning a media campaign can be a total game changer for any startup. It's a great way to get your name out there, put you on a map, show off your skills, and catch the attention of potential investors. And by the way, potential investor can be your customer, for example. So think about starting your fundraising with this research, and plan and start this media campaign. That doesn't need to be paid campaign at all. And I will describe how you can do this without money. First things first, first things first, you need to figure out who are your customers. It's like when you're selling a product, right? What they like, what they care about, and where they hang out online. Once you know who you are talking to, figure out what you want to say. Do you have a cool product or service to show off, a mission that you're super passionate about? Figure out your main talking points. it should be humane, like you're talking to the person, not to some crowd, some robots. Now share your message, social media, blogs, podcasts, events. There are tons of options. You need to talk everywhere. Just make sure you're targeting the channels that your audience is most likely to use. You'll want to measure the success of your campaign. So think about what you want to achieve. Maybe you want more website traffic, more followers on social media, more mentions in the press, and so on, everything. Don't be afraid to reach out to people in the media. Even if you pre-seed startup, you have a cool story to share. If you have this story, they want to hear it, because journalists looking for stories. Just be sure to personalize your pitch and build relationships over time. We'll talk about this in a bit. All right, so fundraising again. When it comes to getting funding for your startup, having a strong team in place is super important. So you need to assemble fundraising team before you start outreach stage. Each person in your team can bring their own skills and knowledge and network to the table. Don't forget about it. But I will jump to delegation first, because this is essential moment, especially for remote teams. How do you actually implement right delegation for startup fundraising? First of all, I saw that many cases when CEO like preparing for fundraising alone. And this is a big mistake, because you're gonna be burned out, and your team will be like separated from you. It's not healthy for team dynamic. And first of all, figure out which tasks need to be delegated. This could be things like preparing information for investor decks, or working on financial projections data. Just sit with templates of the deck and financial plan, and just write down everything that you will need to figure out, what you need to explain, draw, and show. Then find the right people for the job. This means assessing your team members' skills and expertise and matching them up with the right tasks. How to explain go-to-market strategy, who can work on clear technical details for scaling, and so on. Don't do this all by yourself. Give your team members support they need to do their tasks well. Make sure they feel empowered to take ownership of their tasks, and communicate clearly with your team and give them regular feedback. There is no such thing as over-describing the task for remote teams, because you need to be aligned all the time. You need to monitor progress regularly to make sure everything is going smoothly and on track, because I suppose you will have a deadline when you want to get money. So it's important to understand what is your timeline. And you need to signal that you are here for your team to answer questions. Okay, so let's get back. Let's talk about your fundraising team. So CEO is the one who's gonna do most of the talking, right? They should explain what your company does, what makes it special, and how you plan to take over the world. They should also work with a marketing person to make sure your message is clear and catchy. Then CTO is tech whiz who knows all about how your product works. They should explain what's cool about your technology, how it's different from what's out there already, and what your plans are for making it even better. I mean, explain, it's like on a page of your pitch deck. You gathering all the information. You are like project manager. You gather on all of the information, and then you like iterate your pitch deck. Head of operations is in charge of making sure everything runs smoothly. They should explain how you're going to scale your business, what your goals are, and what could go wrong. So they should work with the CEO and CTO to make sure everything makes sense and fits together. It's not like your COO sits and writes something. That's you need to align all the time. Head of marketing knows how to get people interested in what you're selling. They should explain how you plan to find customers, what channels you use to reach them, and how much you are going to spend on advertising and why. They should work with the CEO to make sure your marketing plan is on point, and on the, as I said before, with your marketing person, you will need to work on your media campaign. So aside from that, you also need to make a financial plan. You'll want to show investors how you plan to make money, what your costs are, and how much cash you need to keep things going. You also work on your numbers with your team, because marketing budget, it's your CMO need to be the owner of this information. So discuss hiring, operations, scaling to new locations, what you will need to be sustainable and effective as a startup. All information should be discussed within your team and aligned. Then you will audit your network, all your team network, including second tier of contacts, and ask for interest. Okay, so let's talk about more about preparation. As you can see, I have QR codes. It's just an example of good templates that I always recommend startups. It's from SlideBean. I believe that they are very nice, and they have a lot of explainer videos, and they are funny and clear. So try it out. Okay, so must-haves are deck and projections, right? The pitch deck, it's like a visual aid for your presentation. It helps investors understand that what your startup is all about. I will give slide information on each stage. So at the pre-seed stage, focus on the problem your startup is solving and your solution. You will want to like clearly define the problem and explain why it's important, and present a clear and concise solution and define your target audience. You should also describe how you plan to make money, introduce your team, and provide the overview of the market and competitors. Describe why your team is capable to execute the strategy. It's so crucial. At the seed stage, you'll need to show traction and market fit. This means showing progress you made so far, such as user acquisition, revenue, partnerships, and even awards if you have. You should also explain how your product or service fits into the market and why it's unique. Show a demo, outline your go-to-market strategy, and provide realistic financial projections. At the round A stage, the focus shifts to scalability and profitability. You'll want to explain how your startup can scale its operation. Here's what I found. Oh my God. Sorry. Scale your operations and capture a larger market share. Show how you plan to generate revenue and achieve profitability. Profitability is like especially now, it's the key. I suppose you've seen the news, down rounds, hard to get money at all, and so on. Showcase, like provide an update on the market and competitors. So you're showing your how you're doing so far. Any deck should include explanation why investors should invest in your startup and highlight any competitive advantages or unique selling points, secret sauce, anything that's special about you and your product. Also show how you plan to use the money and how this will impact your startup success. So communication, your communication should be absolutely clear. And now with ChatGPT, it's a bit easier to like work on message with a lot of iterations and prompts and so on, but you're gonna be fine. But you know, why communication and messaging is so important. For example, have you ever been in a situation where you're trying to explain something important, but the other person just doesn't seem to understand? It can be frustrating. So whether you're talking to a colleague, a customer, or someone you want to invest in your startup, clear communications is absolutely crucial. And you cannot like your first impression is essential. So let's say you're talking to a potential investor, right? First, start by talking about the problem. This helps to give some context and lets the other person know that you understand what your customers are going through. For example, you can say, I know that our customers are dealing with this problem. Then talk about how you can help solve the problem. This is where you can share your expertise. For example, you might say, here's how we're helping to solve that problem, right? It's also important to explain that what makes you different from your competitors. This helps to show that you have something unique to offer. For example, you might say, one thing that sets us apart is. So then make sure to explain why your product or service is a good fit. This shows that you understand their needs and have tailored your offering to like meet market requirements. For example, you might say, here's why our product is perfect for our customers. Finally, if you're trying to get someone to invest in your startup, make sure to highlight why your startup is a good investment opportunity. For example, you might say, here's why our startup is a great fit for your fund. That means you did your research on their focus vertical stage and check their portfolio companies. So remember, clear communication is crucial for success in any situation. Okay, so now leveraging media. Hope you're not sleeping. So one of the biggest challenges for every early stage startup founders is getting the word out and gaining media attention. Without the right media exposure, it can be absolutely difficult to attract investors' interest, customers, establish credibility in the industry. Before pitching to the media, it's important to know your target audience and the publications that they consume. You might want to pitch to publications like TechCrunch, VentureBeat, Wired, but don't forget about niche media. It's hard to get to TechCrunch. It's not impossible, but it's very hard. So you need to try to go anywhere. And you need to remember journalists receive hundreds of pitches every day, like feces, right? So your story should be unique and newsworthy. Think about what makes your startup different from others in your industry and why it's worth covering. For example, if you are a fashion startup that uses sustainable materials, you might pitch a story about the environmental impact of fast fashion and how your startup is working to make a difference. Building relationships with journalists can be a valuable asset. When it comes to getting media coverage, start by following journalists on Twitter. It's like the main platform for them. Reach out to them with a personalized pitch that shows you've done your research and understand their beat, what they're writing about, what they're interested in. You can also use social media to engage with your audience. And build a community around your brand. But by doing so, you can create a buzz around your startup and increase the likelihood of getting media coverage. Community is actually a very powerful tool for getting early adopters. If a journalist does show interest in covering your startup, you need to be prepared to provide them with everything they need to write a story. Have a media kit ready that includes your company background, executive bios, product photos, and any other relevant information. You can check out Slack Media Kit, it's great. Also, be prepared to answer any questions they may have and provide them additional resources if needed. This will help to ensure that the story is accurate and shows your startup in the best light possible. All right, so summarizing everything I said. So this is some sort of timeline of your fundraising process. And as you can see, outreach phase is actually at the end. And many founders like skipping steps. That is why you're just not so efficient with your fundraising, because no one knows about your startup. No one knows about you unless you have big network of people, and probably you don't need the first and second stage. Second stage, yeah, you will need, but first one maybe not, but actually don't skip it. You need to start with understanding what you have, your big picture, assemble your fundraising team, and then just work step by step. And your team members will help you on preparation phase and actually on outreach phase too. You will be aligned. You will work as a team. It will also have great long-term effect for your business growth. You will always like keep in mind the big picture. You will be prepared and not overwhelmed. So you focusing on each phase, that's what you need. So on starting phase, focus on this, then preparation phase, focus on this, and so on. So step by step. And also you will have a support system with your community, your network, who share your vision and mission when you communicate it. So you will never be alone. And even if you will struggle, and you will, your support system will help you to get back on track. All right, so I'm done. Okay, shoot me with your questions. I will do my best to answer all of them. If you want to talk, just raise your hand. Okay.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was very interesting and well done, well presented. My name is Mola. I'm from Stockholm, Sweden, and I started my business journey as a startup founder, and what you said was very accurate. And I raised a lot of capital for my projects when I was doing them in Sweden. And now I've been like 1 year ago, I moved to Dubai. I'm an investor, early stage investor working here in Dubai and in the GCC region. Like what you mentioned was spot on, but just adding some personal experience in what we have mentioned. I think also that many, let's say, early stage or seed startups, the team of founders, it's a comparison from the investors. Are they first time? Are they second time? Have they done it before? Like the focusing on the team, it's an important thing. So I would like just to highlight what you have just mentioned about like the preparedness and be ready to answer the questions, because they will go for the team a lot in the beginning. A very good point that you mentioned, that don't aim too high in the beginning and understand the market. As additional, what I would like to add is like also check the availability of like the global investors. The startup ecosystem has been developing a lot recently, and I believe now, especially the post-pandemic era where people have been trained and are using online solutions a lot, there are also a lot of opportunities with meeting global investors around the world. So even if you may be located in an area or working your product in a specific market, there are global investors reaching and looking out for internationally products. But I'm happy to be a part of this session. And Sana, if possible, I don't know how I can contact you. If you could share this with me, and I could distribute this information within my network.
Yeah, sure. I will try to reach out to everyone who was registered and send a link after we will finish. And as for outreach campaign, I haven't talked anything about outreach because, you know, yeah, it's global now. It's a bit easier to not working on just on local market, but the best way, as I believe, it's like start with your warm contacts and then go down and try to receive some recommendations and intros and so on, because yeah, you can send a lot of cold emails, but this is not effective. So if you don't have anyone at all in your network, so you don't have much choice. But I suppose everyone has someone, maybe your friends, maybe your team members, friends, and so on. So outreach, it's like for different type of webinar. Yes, please, Irina.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Sana, for the webinar. I'm currently raising money, and I found out one more way that how I can do it. Of course, you can mix the preparation and then reaching out to people. But once I'm here in Silicon Valley, I understood that here they have kind of a bit different culture. It's like in Italy, you cannot buy a piece of cheese if you don't know the owner of the shop. And here is the same. You have to know someone who raised money before and who is successful, who can help you, introduce you to his investor or her investors. So I understood that, oh my God, I wasted like 2 years of my time being in Europe and not meeting many people, because you have to start building your network even before you start a startup. What do you think about that?
Well, it's always great when you have like network of people who can share with you information, because You know, it's absolutely hectic world. Tech world is crazy in terms of like how things are going. Just look at the SVB bank, yeah. So it's just like this. That is why it's important to be up to date, to know people, and so on. So each region is different, of course, but if we're talking about like global market, everyone, like investors, are people who want to get the biggest return on the investment, right? And this is the biggest risks. That is why this is most expensive money at all. So you need to like mitigate the risks as you can as a startup. And with the media, with network, with the community you're building, you will reach to these people and they will like almost know you even if you never met them. That is why this preparation period, it's not just about pitch deck. No, it's not. Yeah, you need to have this. You need to have a product, you need to have vision, you need to have like basics, must-haves, but everyone must have these must-haves. You need to stand out from the crowd to be effective in this. Otherwise, you will like raise money long time and you will burn out and you will be tired and you will hate all of this and so on. And yeah, so each time each startup is different. It's hard to explain. Most of the time like this, it's generic recommendations, right? Because each one of you have different problems. So I see the question. Can you please explain a bit about the different terms and conditions the investors would like to know before investing in you? Well, it depends on your stage, first of all, and if you have valuation in your mind, like your investors already invested in you and you grow and so on, this is negotiation. So it's so hard to describe this again, not in generic words, but this is like negotiation, is closing part. So when investors are interested, then you will talk to them and they will ask you questions, you will have due diligence, you will have many things. So it's not like they will send you term sheet and that's it. So you will work with your lawyers and so on. So it can be months. So it depends on your stage actually, and your what exactly was before that, you know, what's your cap table looks like, and so on. So many things. Okay, anyone else have questions? Please tell me. I'm happy to answer them. Anyways, if you will have
maybe maybe just let's do like that, because I'm now in startup house and I know many guys who are now trying to fundraise and I see these mistakes. One of them is just preparing too much. He actually built a product already. It's working well. He has some users, but no one knows about him and he's not going out to investors. Other people are just blindly going, meeting some people, and that's also too much. So I guess I need to just introduce you to them. And can you just give some kind of contact
Actually,
details?
I really like such startup founders. You know why? Because it's like you need to balance all the time in terms of like when you under prepared, it's like avocado, you know, it's like not ripe, then dead. So it's like the same actually. When you build in the product and you're starting to get revenue and so on, and then like okay, maybe I should get fundraising. This is the best one because investors love such startups. You already validated your product. You're like, you don't have crazy cap table. They love it, but it's rare animal. So, yeah, there is actually founders who are mostly software engineers, and they like to build something. They don't like talk to people at all. And they have another problem, like, okay, when I'm growing, when I will show you this picture, just a second to like describe this. Okay, so they have the problem when they hiring, when they like building the team, when they building customer support, because you need to understand what your customer is looking for and so on. So many things that is like they don't like. Operations, for example, yeah, you need to build, you need to scale and so on. They like to build something, I mean the product. They don't like to build the team, and they don't have these soft skills. It's a big problem for founders actually, and many of them understand that. Some of them pushed to like learning these skills by investors or by their teams, and it's actually hard for them, so hard for them, but yeah, they're great in building something. Okay, more questions? Anyways, if you will have any questions, you know how to reach me in LinkedIn, I suppose. Add me, DM me. I will send a recording to everyone. And yeah, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you so much, Sana. Looking forward to connect with you.
Thank you.